So over the past, month, I've been having people come into the stream and tell me Bastion was OP. Now, initially, I read that and thought, these guys are smoking something. Bastion OP? I mean, it's a good weapon. And back in January, when we reviewed it for the first time, Bastion was pretty nice. I thought it had potential, but at that time, there was a lot of things happening. Shotguns had more range, pretty much across the board, and there was also another fusion rifle that was reigning terror inside of the Crucible, and that is, of course, Erentil. Now, Erentil has since been dealt with. It's still good, but what made it so potent was, of course, backup plan, which allowed it to chop that charge time down, but retain the same damage. Now, we haven't actually reviewed Erentil in this sandbox, which we will, because there is some good rolls you could still get on an Erentil, as well as other fusion rifles that are fantastic options even in this sandbox. But the fusion rifle that has risen to the top in pretty much all aspects of Crucible, but most notably inside of Trials, is of course Bastion. Now it comes with the exotic perk Saint's Fist, charged to fire 3 spreads of kinetic slugs. Now as you can see right here, these groupings are actually very compact, which I guess is the slug portion of this perk, but it fires out 3 volleys, right? Surprisingly enough though, just 1 pellet does 30 damage, and each group of pellets is 7 in total, meaning if you had 3 opponents rushing you, you can get a triple kill with just 1 shot from Bastion if you time your shots correctly. And the weapon also comes with the trait Breakthrough, which allows for the weapon's damage to bypass elemental shields, a perk more noticeable inside of PvE, but probably the biggest selling point of Bastion is the fact that the weapon has a 780 charge time, but does a tremendous amount of damage. Now, as far as kill range goes, Bastion still has like a 20 meter kill range at best. That is, of course, if you land all 3 of those shots, those groupings, from those extended ranges, you can, of course, get a kill at 20 meter range. That's really not where you want to be fighting, though, because even though you can get a kill from that range, a lot of times if someone's just strafing, they can avoid at least one of those volleys, thus resulting in them killing you with just a basic primary. Where Bastion really thrives, especially something like this weekend, with a map like Anomaly, is within shotgun range to right outside of it. So shotgun range, at least in this sandbox, is about 8 meters. What I found myself at least doing this past weekend was I would try to sit like right outside of that range. I would run them into a scenario where my opponent would think we were about to engage in a shotgun versus shotgun duel, but I would just stay back just slightly, let them go for the dive, and then proceed to melt them with Bastion. Now I'll say Bastion is one of the most difficult weapons to duel against because it's not like a weapon you retreat from. It's got a pretty fast charge time, it does a hell of a lot of damage, and in these close corridors like these, you almost have to overcommit when engaging someone using Bastion. But even then, it's a good chance you'll die before making it to the target, especially if they're baiting correctly, which is why Bastion here has risen in the top of the rankings so quickly. So is Bastion a go-to weapon option in all of Crucible and in something like Trials? Yes. There's so many things that have contributed to this weapon rising in the ranks. Shotgun range getting nerfed across the board, fusion rifles being dealt with like Erentil, but even something most recently, Hard Light receiving a nerf actually increased usage here of Bastion. Hard Light being in the energy slot was taking up that exotic slot, but with its most recent nerf, you've noticed a huge uptick in the Summoner. Now, since Summoner is a legendary, this frees up that exotic slot. Some people are using Revoker, others Astral Horizon, but there's also a lot of people using Bastion, and for good reason. Bastion was putting in a lot of work, fellas. This is probably the most fun I've had in Trials, simply because it is the first time I got to use something outside of a shotgun or a sniper rifle as a special weapon. And I know a lot of people are going to say now, Bastion needs to be nerfed, because I'm already seeing it. Bastion's too OP. And to some extent, the thing packs a lot of damage, man. It could true straight through a barricade. Any Titan out there right now that thinks they're safe behind their barricade against a Bastion user, just run. Don't even try to sit there behind it. You'll die, man. But Bastion is straight nasty. But I don't think it needs to be nerfed, considering every special weapon found on this list is either a sniper rifle or a shotgun. My God, fellas. Is that all we want to play with in a special slot? Is that it? Shotgun snipers? You might as well get rid of everything else. And considering that Bastion is also an exotic, I don't think this weapon needs to be nerfed. I think it's very good. I think it definitely rewards people that bait. I think it's unique, and it adds extra flavor inside of Crucible, and especially inside of Trials. So guys, that is our Bastion re-review for this sandbox. I played with it a bunch. I played with it in quick play as well. I was actually on my Warlock class, popping heat rises, trying to get the aerial game with Bastion. It worked pretty good. The only downside of using it this weekend in Trials, there's a lot of Titans using Antaeus wards. Hell, I'm even using Antaeus. But I will say, as much damage as Bastion puts out, if an Antaeus ward slides balance just right, you will 100% die from your own Bastion shot. Matter of fact, I killed myself yesterday and a teammate of mine with one of my own Bastion shots. So be kind of wary of that. And I know Antaeus wards is like the next thing we need to talk about, because as many people has been saying here lately that Bastion needs to be nerfed, there is a ton of people asking for Antaeus to also be dealt with. We'll be talking about it here soon. Either way it goes, fellas, try out this fusion rifle. It was unique from the very beginning. It packs a hell of a punch. It's got a good charge time. And if you're a fan of like aggressive play, because that's what's so interesting about this fusion, it's not like most fusion. It actually rewards you being aggressive, almost as if you're playing with a longer range shotgun. You're gonna love this weapon. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.